2025 annual meeting of the Home Construction Regulatory Authority. I am Terrence Young, Chair of the HCRA's Board of Directors. On behalf of the Board and the HCRA staff, I want to extend a warm welcome to everyone and gratitude for taking the time to be with us this evening. I'd like to begin our meeting by acknowledging we are on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabeg, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and Wendat peoples. And this territory is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. Together, let us take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the lands we call home. We thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. As a regulator of Ontario's home building industry, the HCRA is committed to meaningful engagement with all our stakeholders. This includes more than 7,000 licensed builders and sellers whose professional standards we regulate and enforce. And vitally important, the new home purchasers and other consumers whose protection is at the heart of our mandate. We continue to build strong partnerships across the sector, working with real estate professionals, building officials, inspectors, municipalities, law enforcement, and others to protect the public and enhance professionalism in the home building industry. Tonight's meeting will provide an update on the progress we have made over the past fiscal year. Following the formal portion of the annual meeting, we will move to an online question and answer period. Many of you joining today may be familiar with the HCRA, but I would like to take a moment to provide a brief overview of our role and our responsibilities. The HCRA was designated by the Ontario Government of Ontario in 2021 to administer and enforce the New Home Construction Licensing Act and its associated regulations. This made the HCRA responsible for regulating and licensing the people and companies who build and sell new homes in Ontario. Our core mandate is to protect consumers so they can make informed decisions when making one of the biggest purchases of their lives, a new home. While we operate independently of the government, the Ministry of Public and Business Service Delivery and Procurement remain responsible for the Act and oversight of the HCRA. In addition to licensing, the HCRA enforces a code of ethics and holds builders to professional standards. We also manage and review builder conduct complaints through a fair, transparent, and evidence-based process. As I mentioned, protecting consumers is our top priority. One of our goals is to provide services for new and prospective home buyers, including the Ontario Builder Directly, which provides background information about home builders and sellers across the province. The HCRA also works to curtail illegal building and selling when individuals or companies operate without a license, which puts the public at risk and creates an uneven playing field for the industry. I'd like to officially call this meeting to order and begin our formal agenda. This is my first annual meeting as chair of the HCRA Board of Directors, a role I was honored to accept last September. I want to sincerely thank my predecessor, Marg Rappel, for her leadership over the previous 2 years. I'm pleased to share that Marg continues to serve our board this past year as chair of Finance, Audit, and Risk Committee, where her insight and guidance have been invaluable. I also want to thank all members of the board for their ongoing commitment and guidance over the past year and for being here today. Our members bring a strong blend of skills, experience, and qualifications in consumer protection, business, and government, and are committed to fulfilling the HCRA's mandate with transparency and accountability. Let me take a minute to introduce them to you. Salvatore Biasucci, Vice Chair of our board, Mary Cardos-Burton, Chair of the Governance, People, and Culture Committee, Marg Rappel, Chair of the Finance, Audit, and Risk Committee, Rinku Deswal, Hugh Heron, Patricia Perkins, Bohudar Rubashewski, and Kim Westfall-Connor. The directors of the HCRA are corporation members and the ones entitled to speak to and vote on the resolutions today. James Ryu, the HCRA's General Counsel, will act as secretary for this meeting. I can confirm a proper meeting notice was given and a quorum of board members is present. I also want to express my appreciation to the staff of the HCRA and all the stakeholders who support our organization. This includes, of course, Minister Stephen Crawford and the Ministry of Public and Business Service Delivery and Procurement. With that, it is my pleasure to call this annual meeting of members to order. Our first item of business is the approval of the meeting agenda and the approval of minutes of the last year's annual meeting. The agenda and minutes were distributed to the members with the notice of the meeting. May I have a motion to approve the agenda and the minutes?
Mr. Chair, I so move.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. And I want to thank Sam Biasucci and Rico Deswal for moving and seconding the motion. All members, please vote by a show of hands. I declare the motion carried. Thank you. It's now my pleasure to introduce a special guest on video. The Honourable Stephen Crawford is Ontario's Minister of Public and Business Service Delivery and Procurement, which is the ministry the HCRA reports to. Minister Crawford was appointed to the ministry in March of this year and has served as MPP for Oakville since 2018. We're delighted to welcome him.
Good evening, everyone. I'm delighted to join you virtually as the Minister of Public and Business Service Delivery and Procurement to say a few words at your annual public meeting. I would like to extend a sincere thank you to CEO Wendy Moore, Chair Terrence Young, and Vice Chair Salvatore Biasucci, and the entire HCRA team. Ontario's builder and skilled tradespeople are driving our province forward through uncertain times. Building more homes isn't just about supply, it's about creating jobs, growing communities, and keeping Ontario competitive. Our government is cutting red tape to help responsible builders get shovels in the ground faster without compromising consumer protection. Thank you for your dedication, resilience, and commitment to high standards. Every family in Ontario deserves a safe, affordable place to call home with high standards of protection, and we're working every day to make that a reality. We know Ontario is facing a housing crunch. Annualized housing starts are at their lowest level in a decade, and the need for action is essential. That is why our government is committed to supporting builders who are stepping up to deliver homes while ensuring strong consumer protections remain in place. We all want to ensure home buyers are protected, informed, and treated fairly, especially in these challenging economic times. You are one of our province's most important consumer protection authorities. I encourage HCRA to continue improving its services to protect home buyers, assist builders, streamline processes where possible, and focus on timely, practical solutions. Ontarians expect a regulatory system that protects home buyers while also enabling responsible builders to succeed. A stronger housing supply pipeline depends on effective partnership, government, builders, and regulators working in concert. Our government thanks you for upholding professional standards among new home builders, safeguarding the public interest against bad actors, and empowering consumers with the knowledge they need to make informed home buying decisions. These are meaningful steps, but the real action will be how quickly we can get more homes built while protecting consumers. Ontario home buyers deserve a transparent, accountable marketplace, one that weeds out those who cut corners and one that supports those who build with integrity. Under Ontario's regulatory framework, all new home builders and vendors must be licensed by the HCRA, which enforces rigorous standards for technical competence, ethical business practices, and financial integrity. Our province's Builder Directory offers a public, transparent tool for buyers to check builders' credentials, license status, and any disciplinary actions. Strong enforcement is in place as we crack down on bad actors, including $17 million in fines and over 1,100 complaints that were handled last year. These are just a few of the meaningful steps our government is taking to safeguard current and future home buyers. Our government remains committed to supporting those who build homes and those who buy them by challenging the sector, including the regulator, to deliver better outcomes faster. We appreciate your continued efforts and support in helping us move this forward. Ontario's home buyers and sellers deserve a transparent, accountable market backed by strong protections and fair enforcement. Together, we will deliver on our commitment to protect Ontarians. Once again, thank you to everyone at HCRA for this chance to participate in your annual public meeting. Let's keep working together to build a stronger Ontario, one home, one family, and one community at a time. Please accept my best wishes for a very productive and successful meeting.
Thank you, Minister Crawford, for your inspiring and supportive remarks. The next item on our agenda is the Chair's report, which I am pleased to deliver. For those who may not know me, I previously served as an elected member of Parliament at both the provincial and federal levels, representing the riding of Oakville. In 2021, I had the remarkable opportunity to join the HCRA as a member of the inaugural Board of Directors before coming chair last fall. Having been with the HCRA from doors open, I've had the privilege of watching the organization grow from a startup into an established modern regulator that plays a vital role in Ontario's housing landscape. With the guidance of the board and the dedication of HCRA staff, I'm proud of how far we've come and excited for what lies ahead. This past year marked an important milestone for the HCRA. With the completion of our first strategic plan this year, we are turning the page to a new 5-year outlook in 2030. This new direction reflects both our progress and our future goals, ensuring our work continues to evolve to meet the needs of Ontario's homebuyers while strengthening the overall new home construction sector. This is a time of significant pressure in the housing industry, from affordability and supply challenges to broader economic uncertainty. In such moments, it is more important than ever to establish a home building industry that is fair, safe, and accountable. That's where the HCRA comes in. We license and oversee more than 7,000 builders and sellers across Ontario, holding them to high standards of competency and conduct. Our focus has always been and will remain protecting home buyers. The vast majority of builders operate with integrity and professionalism, and we are proud to support them in creating strong, vibrant communities. However, when builders break the rules, we hold them accountable, investigating complaints, imposing penalties, and when necessary, revoking licenses. We continue to expand our support to new and prospective home buyers through webinars, education sessions, trade shows, and consumer satisfaction surveys, helping us engage directly with the public and better understanding their needs. Every one of those interactions helps shape our role, and we are committed to ensuring those interactions are responsive, accessible, and respectful. We also equip home buyers with the information they need to make informed decisions throughout the home buying journey, whether through the Ontario Builder Directory, where they can verify a builder's license, or through education resources available on our website. I'm pleased to report that over the past year, the HCRA has delivered strongly on these commitments. We remain vigilant in assessing licensing and builder qualifications, reviewing complaints, and ensuring that Ontario's new home marketplace is fair, safe, and well-informed. And we know there is always more to do. That's why we remain committed to continuous improvement, building on what we've achieved, and finding new ways to strengthen our consumer protection mandate. This progress does not come without challenges. As the housing sector continues to evolve and market pressures persist, navigating these realities demands significant resources, focus, and resilience. And I'm proud of how the organization has responded, keeping consumer protection at the forefront while managing change. On behalf of the board, I want to thank CEO and Registrar Wendy Moore, who, along with the entire senior leadership team, has guided the HCRA's success on many fronts over the past year. Our work continues, and we are determined to make greater strides in the year ahead to strengthen oversight for Ontario's home building industry. As board chair, I want to thank all of you for your continued support in building public trust and confidence, despite challenges that persist in the market. I look forward to continuing that collaboration in the years ahead. Next, it's my pleasure to introduce Wendy Moyer, the HCRA CEO and Registrar. Wendy?
Thank you, Terence, and good evening, everyone. I appreciate you joining us tonight. This past fiscal year marked a pivotal moment for the Home Construction Regulatory Authority. It was our fourth full year of operations, the successful completion of our inaugural strategic plan, and the launch of a new strategy that will guide us through the next 5 years. And as Terence mentioned, we're entering this next phase at a time of economic uncertainty that presents challenges for both consumers and builders. These realities have also placed pressures on the HCRA as an organization, but they underscore the importance of our role as a strong, trusted regulator. Maintaining high professional standards in the home building industry has never been more critical, and the HCRA remains firmly committed to upholding them. As we begin to implement our new strategic plan, the HCRA enters this phase as an operationally stable organization with a focus on supporting economic recovery, driving innovation, and strengthening oversight. Our priorities remain the same: continuously improving service delivery, reinforcing accountability, and delivering on our mandate to protect Ontario's new home buyers while supporting responsible and reputable builders. A critical part of delivering on that mandate is ensuring people know who we are, what we do, and how to access the information they need. At the core of the HCRA's work is a commitment to ensuring that new home buyers are protected, supported, and empowered when making one of the biggest financial decisions of their lives. And that's why in 2024-2025, we expanded our consumer education and awareness efforts to provide timely, relevant information that helps buyers make informed decisions and protect themselves in an increasingly complex market. This includes implementing several new features on the Ontario Builder Directory to enhance access to important information, such as a new consolidated search function, making it easier to find details on regulatory and legal actions, including the ability to search for builders facing bankruptcy or receivership, an important risk indicator for anyone purchasing a new home. Warranty and claims data provided by Tarion is now updated daily instead of quarterly, offering more timely insights. And beyond our website and expanded digital and social media presence, we engaged with thousands of consumers in person by attending more than 40 events across Ontario and connecting with a diverse range of stakeholders, including real estate agents, building departments, and municipal officials, each of whom plays a vital role in informing and protecting new and potential home buyers. We continue to advance our research and education program, part of our legislative mandate to identify and respond to emerging issues affecting consumers and builders through leading research and education. A key focus is supporting builders in meeting educational requirements and adapting to recent changes to the Ontario Building Code, which came into effect earlier this year. Operationally, I'm proud to share that we not only met but exceeded many of our service targets this year. In 2024-25, the HCRA received more than 7,300 license applications and renewals, which was a 3% increase from the previous year, while keeping processing times consistently ahead of our established service targets. We are continuing to modernize our licensing process, increasing efficiency, while ensuring our decisions uphold high professional standards. One of our top priorities remains illegal building and selling, where builders operate without a license or outside of the regulatory framework. These activities expose consumers to significant risks, including the loss of protections that come with working with a licensed builder who is held to professional standards. In 2024-25, the HCRA received a record number of complaints, over 1,100 complaints related to builder conduct and illegal activity. This is an increase of 32% from the previous year. While this is an increase, it reflects growing public awareness of the HCRA. The HCRA reviews every complaint it receives, focusing first on those that pose the greatest risk to the public. While each case is different, our approach is always fair, consistent, and transparent. In this past year, the HCRA's largest ever investigation resulted in the laying of a record 124 charges against an illegal builder. This illegal builder has demonstrated a persistent pattern of non-compliance with regulatory standards. And while the charges are before the court, the HCRA has taken interim measures to prevent further illegal activity. This includes freezing their assets, prohibiting the withdrawal of buyer funds, and requiring those funds to be held in trust. Additionally, a restraining order has been obtained to prevent further violations and to protect consumers. We've also taken serious actions by revoking or refusing several licenses, including preventing an individual whose license had previously revoked due to honesty and integrity concerns from re-entering the industry under the guise of a different corporate name. As I mentioned earlier, the industry is facing some tough challenges, including higher costs and a rising number of insolvencies. These challenges also affect the HCRA, requiring us to adapt and make careful decisions about where and how we allocate resources, while ensuring our efforts have the greatest impact on consumer protection. When builders become insolvent, home buyers are often left vulnerable. Throughout the year, we remained vigilant, holding builders and sellers accountable while keeping prospective home buyers' needs at heart. With this in mind, we worked directly with receivers to uphold purchase agreements, an important step that helped protect buyers from losing their deposits and ensured their homes could still be built. This was part of a proactive, organization-wide monitoring system for high-risk builders. Through this approach, we supported the completion of 8 projects that were at risk due to insolvency. Now, while external factors create challenges for the organization, our focus remains on directing efforts where they will have the greatest impact on consumer protection. Looking ahead, we remain focused on modernization, innovation, and impact, including exploring the careful use of technology and artificial intelligence. This is not to replace decision-making, but to support it, streamlining operations and improving services while maintaining transparency, fairness, and human oversight that are critical in regulatory work. These are just a few of the many highlights from the past year. I encourage everyone to read our full 2024-2025 annual report on our website to learn more about how we're strengthening consumer protection and professionalism in Ontario's home building sector. With continued support from our strong board of directors, dedicated staff, and valued stakeholders, I look forward to building on this momentum and strengthening public trust in the years ahead. Thank you, and I look forward to answering your questions during our Q&A session.
Thank you, Wendy, for your report today and for your outstanding leadership as well. The next item on our annual meeting agenda is the financial report. We have completed our financial year ending March 31st, 2025. Members received the financial statements and the auditor's report thereon with the agenda and material for the meeting. Marg Rappold, Chair of HCRA's Finance, Audit and Risk Committee, will provide the financial highlights.
Thank you for that introduction, Terence. I'm pleased to report on the financial statements for the fiscal ending March 31st, 2025. This is the 4th full year of operations of the HCRA. The HCRA continues to manage its resources in a fiscally prudent manner to ensure it meets its obligations to the government, to the public, and our other important stakeholders. Operating revenues for the fiscal year were primarily derived from the per-unit oversight fees and new licensing and renewal fees. Together, these fees accounted for almost 81% of the total revenue of $11,905,000. Our 24-25 revenues were down approximately $1 million from the 23-24 level of $12.9 million. This is primarily due to lower per-unit oversight fees that the HCRA receives for each home that is enrolled with Tarion. 2024-25 expenditures have increased to $15.2 million. Key areas driving these increased expenditures include continued stabilization of our workforce to meet our critical service standards, securing additional legal prosecution services to aggressively meet our mandate, additional IT services as we continue our digital strategy, and additional regulatory oversight fees that are charged by the ministry. This has resulted in a deficit for the year of $3 million, $3,287,000. This deficit will be offset through the operating reserve fund that the HCRA has built for this specific purpose. KPMG, the auditors for HCRA, have confirmed that the financial statements fairly present in all material respects the financial position of the HCRA, as well as the results of its operations and cash flows for the year ended March 31st, 2025.
Thank you, Mark. Members, is there any discussion of the financials or the auditor's report thereon? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the resolution to reappoint the firm of KPMG LLP as auditor for the HCRA until the close of the next annual meeting of members?
Chair, I'm happy to move.
Thank you, Bohidar. And Kim Westfall-Connor has seconded. I want to thank, all members, please vote by a show of hands. I declare the motion carried. Thank you. The annual report, which includes the financial statements, is posted on our website. We are pleased we were able to share this snapshot of what has been a productive year at the HCRA. The next item of business is the election of directors. The HCRA has 6 elected directors and 3 appointed by the Minister of Public and Business Service Delivery and Procurement. Each elected director serves a 3-year term on a staggered schedule so that members elect 2 directors a year. The resolution before the members today is to elect Mary Cardos Burton and Kim Westfall-Connor to serve a 3-year term as director of the corporation. May I have a motion to approve the resolution?
I so move the resolution.
Thank you, Marg. And I see that Hugh Heron has seconded. I want to thank Marg Rappel and Hugh Heron for moving and seconding the motion. All members, please vote by a show of hands. I declare the motion carried. Thank you. Having concluded the business on the agenda for today's meeting, I declare the annual meeting to be adjourned. We will now move on to the public question and answer session. To moderate this segment, let me introduce Tess Lynn, this HCRA's Director of Communications and Stakeholder Relations. Tess?
Thank you, Terrence, and good evening, everyone. We'll now move into the Q&A portion of our session. If you would like to submit a question, please click on the Ask Your Question Live button. And as you're submitting your questions, please kindly keep in mind that this is not the appropriate forum to discuss any individual cases. Please submit one question at a time and keep your question to a general nature, just because we will not be able to comment or provide updates on any specific ongoing matters. As well, during our time together, we will do our absolute best to get to as many questions as we can. But please do understand that we may not be able to get to all of your questions, particularly if you're asking multiple questions. However, if we're not able to provide a response during our session today, we will definitely follow up with you via email directly. If you run into any technical issues, please email help@livecast.ca for any assistance. And our appreciation for your cooperation. And we'll now open the floor to questions. Let me take a look. Yes, we do have some questions. And so the first question is HCRA and their stakeholders proactively policing illegal building activity and issuing provincial offense fines to offenders? What is your specific plan to stop illegal building? So I will turn it over to Wendy.
Great. Thank you, Tess. As you know, illegal building is a critical issue for the HCRA, and we definitely actively collaborate with municipalities, and other stakeholders to address this challenge. I would say it is a multi-pronged approach that we take when builders and sellers operate without a license. It really puts the public at risk and creates an uneven playing field for the industry. So some of our efforts include targeted investigations, and you've probably seen some of those targeted investigations in the media throughout the last year or so. In fact, we just had a CTV news article about one of our investigations just this week. So also public awareness campaigns so that consumers know that they can contact us if they're having issues with an unlicensed builder, and to in fact know that they shouldn't hire an unlicensed builder, to check our builder directory. So public awareness campaigns is very important. Also collaborating with various stakeholders and monitoring real estate listings and other online platforms to detect potential licensing activity. In fact, in my report, I did mention so what we want to do through our digital strategy is increased use of, say, technology, particularly artificial intelligence, to really tap into some of that data that's out there so that we can use that to prevent and tackle illegal building. And one of the other things that we're doing, of course, is working with our ministry team at the ministry to talk about some of the areas where there might be opportunities to strengthen the legislation and regulatory framework to stop illegal building before it even begins. I think I'd mentioned earlier that a major highlight this last year was our largest investigation where we laid 124 charges against an illegal building. And we're continuing to take all sorts of actions as they come up. Actually, one of our, most recently, we conducted proactive site visits in Northern Ontario, uncovering multiple concerns of illegal building. Our investigations team went up there and we visited within the municipality, and these visits really helped strengthen our collaboration with local building officials and enhance our enforcement efforts.
Thanks so much, Wendy. And if I may add, earlier in the year, we also did a webinar, an education session with our investigations team, actually, providing more education and awareness about, what you can do to kind of protect yourself from illegal activity. But also, the team spoke about what they do to tackle illegal building as well. So all of that is actually on our website. So if you missed the session, the recording is on our website for anybody who is interested. So thank you so much, Wendy. The next question that I see is, under what circumstances does the HCRA issue only a warning letter to a builder? And how is the warning letter considered in the builder's file and overall history of misconduct?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, as far as disciplinary, and we're talking about licensed builders here and conduct concerns, like any regulator, we certainly look at everything in terms of lower to higher risk situations, and sometimes if it's a first offense, if you will, if it's a first problem, we actually we attempt to educate builders so that behavior that needs to be corrected, they may not have been aware of it. The code of ethics is relatively new. But once we have, once that warning letter is on file for a behavior that we've identified and educated the builder on, we expect there to be change in that behavior, because it's really a case of escalating consequences. So it might start off with a warning letter, but it can certainly, once we have that on file, we are very careful to make sure that that behavior doesn't reoccur. And if it does, there could be escalating consequences, such as fines, charges, and even impact on a builder's license.
Thank you, Wendy. I'll just go right ahead into the next question. Does the HCRA verify information on builder records it receives from Tarion to ensure accuracy and completeness of this information?
Ah, yes. Well, we get hundreds of records from Tarion every day, so I would say no. Those records, that information is Tarion owns that data and that information. And as I think I'd mentioned earlier, because we get the information, this is claims data, and it's fairly clear when you go on the builder directory which data is actually Tarion claims data. So you can see that that's Tarion data. We get that downloaded every day now. It used to be that it was only quarterly. So as a consumer, if you went on there, or even as a builder, if you went on the builder directory and saw that there was something wrong, that you thought it was incorrect data, it might have simply been because it was out of date. Now we expect it to be up to date every 24 hours. And what I would encourage folks to do if they see something that they think is not correct is to, in fact, contact Tarion directly to ask about it. They own the data. It's really not information. It's information about enrollments, deposits. The information is within Tarion's control and should be directed towards Tarion to ask about.
Thank you, Wendy. And the next question is, why is the HCRA planning to substantially raise its fees this year? So I assume this question is in relation to the licensing fees.
Did you take a crack at that one, Terrence?
Sure, absolutely. I'm just going to go back a little bit in time to when I first came on the board, 2021, when we were a new organization. So the HCRA made a commitment to builders and the ministry, et cetera, that the fee structure we had, we would not raise fees for 3 years. And so the wise thing to do, the cautious thing to do was during those years was to put money aside in reserves, which is what we did. And so by 2023, we had actually put $11 million into reserves. And some of the builders thought that was a little too much. They thought, well, maybe we shouldn't be paying that much. But it's proven to be very helpful in the last 2 years, when in the spring of last year, we discovered there was no spring market. That is that every year in the building industry, everybody thinks house sales are going to take off and there's going to be a spring market. And it just didn't happen. It was really, I think it was sort of a black swan event, certainly in the building industry. Hadn't happened in that way since 1981, when interest rates hit 22% for homes or cars, et cetera. So we had put the money in the bank, and we've been using them last year and this year to maintain our operations so that we can continue to enforce all our rules. And some of these legal cases we have and the charges that we've laid, et cetera, they can take years with appeals, et cetera. And we certainly don't want to reduce our enforcement. So it was an inconvenient time. It has been an inconvenient time for builders to say, when they're not building as much as they used to have a fee increase. But it was absolutely necessary to maintain operations and keep protecting Ontarians.
Thanks so much, Terrence.
And I just wanted to add too, there was a public consultation.
Yes.
Obviously, we did get a variety of feedback, and thank you everybody who participated in that public consultation. We know that this is a tough time for the industry. A lot of the response to that public consultation was understanding that, we are all going through a tough time and that we did need to make these inflationary fee increases in order to continue our services.
Thank you so much, Terrence and Wendy. The next question is, why are there no consumer advocates on your board who have a lived experience with poorly built homes or unscrupulous builders? So maybe Terrence, you can take this question.
Sure, I'm happy to do that. Our board is based on the competence of people and their life experience and the skills they have. And so you heard, if people were here for the earlier part of the meeting, they heard that 6 of the members of the board are elected and 3 are appointed by the minister. So on our board, we have a lot of consumer experience. Rinku Deswal, for example, is a lawyer with over 20 years of litigation experience who represents consumers with concerns regarding home builders and a range of other things. Pat Perkins has served as a Durham regional councillor for 18 years, dealing with the building industry, including 8 as mayor of Whitby and as a member of parliament for Whitby, Oshawa. She has also served on various boards and dedicated to housing, conservation, and public service. Kim Westfall Connor, who's relatively new on our board, has served as chair of a regulatory body and contributed to administrative law adjudication in Ontario with the College of Teachers. My own background is in provincial and federal parliament. In the federal parliament, I was known for creating Vanessa's Law, which is the Protecting Canadians from Unsafe Drugs Act, which took us about 5 years to get that bill passed in Parliament. And that's based on patience, but it's all about really making government work for people. So we've got lots of experience on this board, and I'm very proud of what we're able to achieve.
Yes, indeed. And I want to point out that when there are vacancies for those 6 elected positions, that we always publicly post that for people to apply for those postings. And we also have a fantastic consumer advisory council, which is full of people giving the HCRA advice that have a lot of lived experience buying and hiring builders to build new homes.
I would like to add one more thing. We have 2 very experienced builders on our board, Hugh Heron and Sam Biasucci. They have for decades, in both cases, built homes and satisfied customers and taken care of any problems customers have, which is how they built their businesses up. And so if it comes to taking care of customers, or home buyers, I should say, I don't think anybody has more experience than people who have been successful in the building industry. Thanks for the question.
Thank you, Terrence and Wendy. The next question is, there are numerous processes such as land registry records, builder web sales, municipal records that HCRA could utilize to stop illegal building before purchaser contracts are signed. Are you actively using these resources? So over to you, Wendy, for this one.
Yes, thank you. I might have partially answered that before, certainly in terms of the future opportunities to use that kind of data is really kind of incredibly exciting, quite frankly. But yes, we already are using some of that data to look for opportunities to tackle illegal building. A lot of that information is publicly available, and we are using it. Yes.
Thank you, Wendy. Moving right into the next question. Your research has shown there's still an opportunity to raise awareness of the HCRA, including any confusion between HCRA and Tarion. So the question is, how can people be expected to follow the rules if they don't know yet who this HCRA is or what the HCRA does?
No, that's a good question. We definitely have plenty of information on our website. I would definitely encourage folks to go to the HCRA website, go to the Ontario Building Directory to understand what we do. Essentially, we are in charge of regulating and maintaining high standards for builders. Tarion is responsible for the warranty and deposit protection for the projects themselves. It's a fairly clear distinction, but of course, after years of Tarion providing both roles, I think it is natural that it will take a little bit of time for people to adapt to the difference. But the information is there, and we are certainly as you know, Tess, very well, working hard to on our public awareness campaigns and talking to as many consumers and other stakeholders as we can to clarify that.
Thank you so much, Wendy.
We also know it's working. We also know it's working because we get feedback from people who analyze our media attention. And we know that awareness and the difference between Tarion and the HCRA has gone up quite a great deal. We also use that, by the way, we were talking about illegal building earlier. We also use it to get out perhaps our most important message to potential home buyers, and that is before you buy a house, check with the HCRA. And they can check a database and see if their builder is registered to sell homes in Ontario, which is excellent protection. So we emphasize that message as often as possible.
Exactly, that's for sure. The next question is, can an HCRA license be mandatory for the issuance of a building permit? So we'll go to you for this one, Wendy.
So under the building code, the municipalities may ask for that information, although it's still a little out of date because it talks about Tarion registration, but I think it means HCRA license. However, there could be closer ties between the municipal building permits and the HCRA licenses with some tweaks to the legislation, to the building code. That would require further work with our ministry and the Ministry of Housing.
Thank you, Wendy. And the next question is the HCRA concerned about owner-builder homes, where someone is building a home for themselves, but they immediately sell it?
Yes, absolutely. That's definitely a big concern. There's really three types of owner-built homes, and really only one of them, in my view, is legitimate, and that's the one where somebody builds a home and then they live in it themselves. There are two other kinds that really are using it as a loophole, and that's the kind where an owner hires an unlicensed builder to build a custom home for themselves. That builder should be licensed. And then there's the third type, which you mentioned, which is it's really a builder that builds it, pretends it's for themselves to live in, and then flips it very shortly or immediately after. That is a big concern for the HCRA, and it's something that we have been discussing with the ministry. We do believe that there are probably a lot of unlicensed builders out there operating in this area.
Thank you, Wendy. And just to add, again, if anybody does have concerns regarding illegal activity, you are able to file your concern or your complaint on our website, actually. Again, anybody, that can be anybody. You don't have to be a builder. You don't have to be a professional in the area. If you know something, you're able to share that information with us, and we'll, look into it with our team. So the next question.
Sorry, I just wanted to add on to that as well. That was a great comment, Tess. Because when a consumer hires an unlicensed builder to build a home for themselves, they do not have the benefit of having hired a licensed builder who, we are holding accountable through the Code of Ethics.
Thank you, Wendy. And the next question is, in the annual report, it's referencing, your financial report says the HCRA has been absorbing the ministry government oversight fee since 2021. And so the question is, did the HCRA pay any oversight fees in 2021, 2022, and 2023?
In 2023, yes, not at the beginning, no.
Thank you, Wendy. And the next question is, does HCRA license builders who only construct rental apartments?
Oh, no, so it's consumer protection and rentals are not considered consumer protection. You know, that's more commercial. So no, the HCRA does not license builders of rental apartments.
Thank you for that clarification, Wendy. And I am just looking here to see the questions that we've received. Oh, here's one for you, Wendy. We've received a question about the type of information that is on the Ontario Builder Directory. Can you clarify the types of charges and convictions that are shown in the directory, and why not all of the information regarding every complaint and all of the claims are on there?
Oh, okay. So, for example, if somebody was convicted under the criminal code, for example, we wouldn't show that on the directory. The charges and convictions on the directory are the ones under the New Home Construction Licensing Act, as well as the Ontario New Home Warranty Plan Act. Our legislation does lay out what information we are allowed to publicly post on the builder directory. So not everything about everything is on there, but certainly everything under our administration we would put under there. So we do put, as I'd mentioned before, carry on claims data, but it's rolled up claims data. That's what we receive from Tarion, and I believe there's some restrictions on that data as well. But for example, specific claims about specific homes is not something that we're permitted to put on the Ontario Builder Directory. I'm not sure if that answers the question.
Thanks, Wendy. The next question is, this is for you as well, Wendy, is how does the licensing process work? For example, if a builder gets convicted or becomes insolvent, could they simply apply for a new license under a different name and in doing so kind of erase or hide their past history? So I think you commented on this earlier, but maybe just explain that a little bit further.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's a really important question because I know, there's this idea, and of course it works sometimes, that if companies run into trouble, that they can simply start up a new numbered company and start all over again and nobody will know. That is not the case with the HCRA. We track not only the name and the number of a company, but its principals, directors, and officers and interested parties. And if there is an insolvency, if there is a conviction, or really any kind of enforcement action that we take, it will really follow those principals, directors, and officers around, so that if they try to start up a new license and hope we don't notice, that will not be the case. We will notice, and depending on the severity of what the action was, we would be able to make the decision not to issue the license. And in fact, that has happened on several occasions where we have issued notices of proposal to refuse and have in fact refused new license applications in cases where there have been convictions. And that's even things like somebody that was convicted had their daughter apply for one, but we could see the connection. We could see the connection with their project manager. So it is not that easy to escape from your past if you're coming to the HCRA.
Thanks, Wendy. And I just wanted to add as well, and you mentioned this earlier, it is part of our enhancements to the directory itself, where we've made it easier to kind of make that connection. So one, you could search for the name of a principal, director, or officer, and it'll pop up, but it'll actually go one step further to show how this person might have a bunch of related companies, and that'll be the connection that you'll be seeing up front. So I think that is helpful for folks who are wanting to learn how various companies under different names may be connected. So I want to go into this question, which goes back to the annual report again. So the question is, it looks like there are more complaints against licensed builders than unlicensed builders. And so, Wendy, you mentioned a few times tackling illegal activity or illegal building is really important and is a top priority. So why is that the case then, if there's actually more complaints against licensed builders?
Yeah, well, I mean, I would say that both are very, very important too, and very important in terms of consumer protection. It's very important to be able to deal with complaints against licensed builders who, may be in breach of the code of ethics, but it's certainly also very important to deal with unlicensed builders where the consumer in that case really doesn't have as much recourse as all because they can't make a complaint against them because they're not licensed, not in the same way. So they're both really important. And I think, the number of complaints of one versus the other, it's a little bit misleading because we may not get as many complaints about illegal builders. It doesn't mean that they're not out there. And we know that they're not out there. Our responses and our activities are not solely complaint basis. We do have the ability and the obligation to proactively deal with either unlicensed building or unprofessional conduct.
Thanks so much, Wendy.
We have to balance our resources and deal with both, I think is the short answer.
Yes, definitely. I'm just looking at our time because I want to be respectful of everybody's time. So I think we have time for one more question for the evening. Again, we can definitely follow up with folks via email afterwards, especially if you think of another question. We're always happy to answer. And so, Wendy, I wanted to ask this question you've mentioned this before about, and Terrence as well, you've mentioned how important the Ontario Builder Directory is, and that really, it's a key resource, particularly for new home buyers. Wendy, can you speak to how we've enhanced that, including taking feedback that we've heard from consumers to really make it a really effective tool and resource?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And it really is, it's really our top priority is to protect consumers and give them the information they need. So the Builder Directory is crucial to us. In fact, when we got results from our survey and all in all, we found that consumers are actually very happy with the Builder Directory and the information that they receive, which is great. And it's being used. The directory during the fiscal year was searched more than 420,000 times. So it's great that it's being used and that it's being appreciated. But of course, we can always, it's our goal to continuously improve. So we're also continuously improving the information available and enhancing the Builder Directory so that builders have even more reliable, timely, and transparent information. So I think you had mentioned earlier as well that we expanded our search functionality to allow users to look up regulatory actions, including those related to insolvent builders and vendors. In fact, I mentioned that in my report. Obviously, there has been an increase in insolvencies with the economy the way it is. We wanted to make sure we were on top of that and that consumers could see if they were thinking about hiring a builder or buying a home from a builder right away, whether there had been any problems with insolvency. So you can go right in and search on that. And I'd also mentioned the daily automated feed for Ontario data. That's a big improvement this year. And also there's been deeper data integration to automatically post detailed information on the regulatory actions and insolvency section of the Builder Directory and access to related public documents that might be relevant. And last but not least, we worked on clearing definitions that we use. I know everybody loves acronyms and jargon. Sometimes it's hard to understand what you're looking at. So we clarified the definitions on the Builder Directory this year as well.
Well, thank you so much, Wendy and Terrence. It does look like we are at the end of our time together this evening. So again, if we weren't able to get to your question, we will reach out directly by email. Again, we really thank you for joining us tonight. And if you would like to discuss anything further, feel free to email us directly at info@hcraontario.ca. And so again, thank you for joining our annual meeting, and we hope you found it informative. On behalf of our team here and the board of directors, I wish everybody a wonderful evening. Good night.